All right, this is Brian Johnson, staff writer for Finance and Commerce, and I'm pleased to be joined by Paul Donovan, COO of Forte Real Estate Partners, a local provider of commercial real estate services for clients in the Twin Cities and beyond. Donovan joined Forte a year ago after spending 20 years with Cushman and Wakefield, leading an advisory and tenant rep team. His expertise includes site selection, transaction management, facility management, property dispositions and acquisitions, financing, and project management. So, Paul, thanks for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Appreciate the call.
Absolutely. So, wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself. I see from your bio that you earned a Bachelor of Science degree from Marquette University, and I believe you studied accounting there. So, walk us
Yes,
through your career path and how you made the transition into commercial real estate.
great, thanks. So yeah, graduated from Marquette. Started my career at Cargill, working in their corn milling division, doing accounting of all types, operations, construction, etc. Focused on the construction piece. They built multi-million, 50 to $100 million corn plants, and so I was involved in that kind of work. After that, started a small business that was janitorial and building maintenance related. Ran that for 6 or 7 years, grew that to 100 employees, sold it to Marsden Companies, worked closely with Skip Marsden and Guy Mingo and a guy by the name of Chris Clifton, and had great success growing Marsden, bringing a lot of good discipline to the sales efforts. And in 2001, Marsden was sold to a holding company that's controlled by the Roundhorst family. They still own it today, I'm pretty sure. And at that time, I transitioned and moved over to United Properties, working in corporate real estate. And it kind of stayed in that world from 2001 to 2024, where I transitioned over to Forte to be their chief operating officer. I think the big reason for my change, I'd run that track at Cushman Wakefield for quite a while and wanted something different to focus more on mentoring and helping advisors take their skills where they are today and harness them into great productive results for our clients. And so I've been enjoying my 1 year anniversary was January 1, 26. So I've been here just over a year.
Well, that sort of segues well into my next question. I was just going to ask you about your specific job duties at Forte. And so you said you've been there about a year now. What have you been up to, and any notable work or transactions that you'd care to highlight?
Yeah, so my work isn't really focused on transactions as much as right now it's focused on structure of the organization. So building on the great culture, team environment that Forte has, I've really brought a focus to our business develop a structure to how we do our work, because there is a good process. Like any successful organization, you need a great process. So highlighting a process, making sure we formalize it, whether that's operationally on customer care and execution or the business development side. So bringing structure and accountability and then support to each other. The teamwork environment's always been excellent at Forte. So it's just making sure people have the capacity to focus on each other and help each other out, ultimately bringing a higher level of service to our clients. And Forte's track record in healthcare is very well known. We're also doing a good amount of work on the office and industrial side.
Okay. Well, what's your outlook for that office and industrial market here in the 2026 beyond? Do you have any
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
well, I mean, I focus more on, I mean, the day-to-day facts are out there that you can get from almost any broker. I think when I think about I look at this more from a business perspective, and whether it's our perspective or our client's perspective, there's a lot of uncertainty. I mean, there's this disconnect in the economy, um, where the smaller businesses could be 50 million or 100 million. These don't have to be, $500,000 in revenue. But the smaller businesses have a different vibe and different feel about where this economy's headed than the big seven that you read about all the time, or the things that are running the Standard and Poor's index. So what do I think? I think, and it's from our clients, but a lot of people I know are really focusing on just being extremely well run and making sure that every dollar they spend and they invest, that it's got a purpose and it's got a targeted return or a reason for that investment. So there's a lot more structure and a lot more concern about how you spend your money. And with that is what we bring to the table, and our rigor is to make sure that we support our clients. Real estate is not their business. Their business is where they derive their revenue from. It could be an industrial manufacturer. It could be a healthcare company. It could be a bank. And our job is to make sure that we are executing against the metrics and the parameters that they need to be successful as a business. And so we make sure that they put and many times business owners don't put or don't know real estate well enough. And so they don't know really what to think about. So the good advisors are taking the time to learn their business, learn about all the drivers so that we can apply their business needs to the real estate outcomes. So things like being really disciplined on how you analyze the deal, making sure that you're getting the right business, the business terms, et cetera. But equally important is building in flexibility. So those that need to grow can grow appropriately and effectively. If they need to downsize or adjust to a economic challenge, that they have some flexibility to adjust their deal points accordingly. Should they lease or should they own? And so there's a whole host of things, and I could go on, but the core is really spending time to understand your client's business, and that's a lot of what I kind of work on with our advisors, is to make sure that we spend a lot of time clearly understanding our advisors' business, our client's business, and then making sure that the real estate supports that. So I would just highlight this. It's distinctly different. There's a lot of our business, which is very transactional. There's a lot of a mindset, which is just get the deal done. And that is certainly appropriate on the landlord side, because the people that own the buildings, they know what they want to accomplish, and the broker's job is to get the deal done. When you're on the tenant side, it is not about getting the deal done. It's about getting the deal done properly and appropriately for the client's business, and then supporting them throughout the term of the lease and beyond to make sure that they're getting everything they need.
Well, great. Well, thank you for that insight. And I know that you recently moderated a conversation with Forte's owners about what companies should do to prepare for a potential downturn with learnings from the great financial crisis and COVID. What are some of your takeaways from that conversation?
Yeah, I think one is experience matters. So people that have been through these experiences have a lot to offer. I think being, again, what I just spoke to here, being very thorough and complete in understanding your client's business and their drivers is essential. Building flexibility, all the components of building flexibility, whether it's termination options, expansion options, contraction options, making sure you accurately and appropriately price the project. So when you have when you're going to build out, whether it's industrial or medical or office, that you clearly and properly upfront price out the entirety of the project, so your clients aren't surprised later on. So there's really a thoroughness and a rigor that you apply every day in running a business you really need to apply it to to a real estate transaction. But some of the nuances of providing flexibility and act in a lot of rigor to make sure that you accurately, you know, uh, deliver the project to our clients on time, on budget, with flexibility, et cetera.
Well, getting back to your personal resume, I was looking at your LinkedIn page and I see that you've done quite a bit of volunteer work through the years, including serving on the board of Catholic Finance Corp. Tell us a little bit about that and some of the work you've done that on the volunteer side.
Yeah, well, so I'm my focus and my wife's focus, where we give charitably, whether it's time or uh, treasure, is on areas focused on, those primarily education, healthcare, and poverty, and helping people in those areas. The need is great and remains great. I would say what I've learned from a variety of boards that I've been on, and I don't know, I've probably been on five or six, is governance and discipline against the mission and the purpose of the organization. This translates exactly into running a business, is essential. And I've had the benefit of learning from people, sitting on a board with John Morgan, who used to run Winthrop Resources and Windmark, to other leaders from banks and Archbishop Hebda from the Archdiocese, and Bill Lynch, who used to run Delta and now is at Key Ingredients of Delta, that's at the Archdiocese. Learn from a lot of great people on how to apply really just great business insights into how do you run a nonprofit. So, it's with that good governance structure that you really become long-term sustainable and are good stewards of the resources that are given you. Catholic Finance was a unique because it's a advisor to the Catholic Church, and we're helping people primarily that have lower resources, primarily the parishes that have less means to survive. They might have a stronger immigrant population or a lower economic population, but extremely important. And just helping them with the planning and execution against their mission and their ministry in the Catholic Church. So it's all been great experience in the giving side, helping organizations remain viable and relevant, but also the learning side. I encourage everyone, I encourage people at Forte, get involved in a board. You'll learn a lot and you can give a lot.
Great. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, Paul. It sounds like you're on vacation. Before we started recording here, you said you're in the mountains. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So hopefully it's a little bit warmer wherever you are. And
Yeah, it's been, well, we'd like it a little colder, but it's fine. It's fine. The snow's okay, but we're having a great time.
awesome. Well, anything else you'd like to mention before I let you go, or anything else
No,
you'd
no, I think, prior to leaving Cushman, my resume was extensive, working at RBC, for RBC, doing their headquarters, the Four Seasons downtown, working with a lot of great professional service organizations, whether they're law firms or architectural firms. Did a fair amount of work with US Bank, and did a lot of nonprofit work with the Archdiocese of St. Paul and Minneapolis, worked with a lot of charter schools and a lot of nonprofits focused on really important ingredients of our community that need support. So been fortunate to have a great career and fortunate to take the next chapter, which is build a really customer centric and collaborative team at Forte.
well, great. Well, thank you for the conversation, Paul, and enjoy the rest of your day and have a good
Yeah,
have a good week.
thanks. Appreciate it, Brian. See ya.
All right. Take care.